Is Councillor Wilson on?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you ready? Okay, good.
Oh, sorry, I was just plugging my phone or my computer.
I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. and we'll do the land acknowledgement statement with Councillor Wilson.
I'm here, yeah. Sorry, you want me to read it?
Please, yes.
Oh, I apologize. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas and the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. I have one on conflict of interest on PDS 2022-25. Just a portion regarding 1970 DQ Road, not the whole report, because I live in the commenting zone and have declared a conflict 2 previous times on this file. Adoption of agenda. Are there any changes to the order of the agenda? I have a mover, Councillor Decker, and a seconder, Councillor Hanley, that the motion to adopt the agenda. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Adoption of the minutes. Council meeting minutes, CL 15-2022, Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. I have a mover, Councillor DeRose, and a seconder, Councillor Neal. Is there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Mayor's report. On May 5th, I attended the Lemon Twist competition held at Mountain View Building Group's headquarters in Thorold. This event was held to help raise awareness for the upcoming Mountain View Lemonade Day this Sunday, June 12th, and involved teams from local elementary schools, including Summer and Abby from Richmond Street School in Thorold. Lemonade Day is a fundraiser run by FACS, Family and Children's Services, and sponsored by Mountain View Building Group to raise money to send kids to summer camp. There will be lemonade stands set up by participating volunteers across Niagara, including some in Thorold, with one at Merrittville Speedway on Saturday and Big Red Markets on Sunday. And there will be other locations across the city. We hope to have those listed and on our Facebook page before the event. Let's get out and support this amazing initiative. On Tuesday, May 24th, Economic Development Manager Marco Marino and I gave a virtual PowerPoint presentation to Royal LePage and provided them an update on the great things happening in the city of Thorold. On May 26th, I brought greetings on behalf of City Council to the Niagara Older Adult Alliance Forum hosted by our Senior Center. Councillor Neal attended. A special thank you to Jean D'Amelio Swire, our age-friendly committee chair, Elaine D'Amico, and Deputy Clerk Joanne Goulet for all their work in organizing this event. On May 28th, I attended the Canal City Strongest Man and Woman competition held in the Club Capri parking lot. Councillor DeRose was also in attendance. This inaugural event was very well attended, and Wes Dorinsky from Thorold, second place winner in last year's Canada's Strongest Man competition, and his group of volunteers hope to grow this event and bring more events to Niagara. Congratulations to all contestants and organizers for a successful day. June is Pride Month, and on May 30th, the City of Thorold, alongside Pride Niagara, was proud to raise the Pride flag. Pride Niagara Chair Enzo Dividitis joined myself, Councillor Neal, Regional Councillor Whalen, and City staff in support of Pride Month and the LGBTQ2S+ community. Pride Niagara is a celebration of Niagara's sexual and gender diverse community and its supporters. On May 31st, I attended the first ever night bazaar at the post office, Shannon Passero, 18 Front Street North in Thorold. The event was a major success with many unique vendors and over 300 attendees. Economic Development Manager Marco Marino was a vendor with the City of Thorold Shop Local booth at this event that was very popular among those in attendance. Councillor Sentence and his wife were among the shoppers. On June 2nd, in honor of Her Majesty's Coronation Day, we joined other municipalities across Canada in the Niagara region by illuminating City Hall purple as part of the National Illuminations Initiative to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. This year marks Queen Elizabeth II's 70th year of service to the people of United Kingdom, the Realms, and the Commonwealth. On June 2nd, Councillor Neal and I attended the flag-raising ceremony at the Senior Center. June is Seniors Month, and the Thorold Age-Friendly Community flag was raised to recognize our amazing older Ontarians and contributions they have made not only in the City of Thorold but in communities across the province. The 2022 theme for Seniors Month is Stay Active, Stay Connected, Stay Safe. Thank you to the Thorold Senior Center for hosting this event, and Jean D'Amelio Swire, our age-friendly chair and Senior Center executive, for making this important flag-raising possible. A friendly reminder that splash pads across the city are now open daily from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and that the Thorold Community Pool will be opening on June 24th for regularly scheduled programming. As always, find out more details on our pool programs on our website at www.thorold.ca/pool. On Saturday, June 4th, I attended the Wellness Connection Tour held in the Prince of Wales School parking lot, an excellent event which included free shopping with Niagara's Mobile Closet, free activities with Club Wellness Niagara, free snacks from Club Belvedere with James Simons manning that booth, free activities with Thorold Public Library, and Niagara's Mobile Dental Clinic with free dental services for children and youth. There was a great crowd accessing the services provided, and the weather was perfect. On June 4th, Merrittville Speedway held their annual bicycle giveaway. This year they broke a record with 72 lucky children going home with a new bike. Thank you, Merrittville Speedway owners, Don and Lorraine Speece, and everyone who donated bikes to this great initiative. On June 5th, I stopped by at the 4th annual Thorold Community-wide Food Drive collection points, some of the collection points. As a community, the City of Thorold, as always, came together, participated, supported this important event. With many food bins dropped off by community care throughout the city, they depend on initiatives like this to allow community care to continue to provide food assistance to those in need, especially at this time of year when a food supply boost is needed. Thank you, Thorold Neighborhood Hubs and One Thorold, for once again organizing this event. To all businesses and residents hosting food drive collection points, we thank you. Thank you to the Thorold Professional Firefighters Association for volunteering to build a playground at Richmond Street School. Great work, excellent initiative. Also, Thorold Fire and Emergency Services qualified for Tanker Shuttle accreditation on Saturday. Congratulations to our firefighters who knocked it out of the park. Fire underwriters personnel were totally impressed with our team. On Sunday, June 5th, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 17 Thorold hosted the annual Decoration Day ceremony at Memorial Park with Canadian Corps Unit 44, Thorold Fire and Emergency Services, Thorold Pipe Band, Meriton Legion, and American Legion representatives, as well as area residents. I was joined by Councillor Neal and MP Vance Badaway. Once again, thank you for keeping this important tradition alive. Last evening, I attended the Thorold Runway of Recognition induction dinner held at Club Capri. Councillors Sentence, Decker, Neal, DeRose were also in attendance, as well as Regional Councillor Tim Whalen, who was also the evening's MC. The annual event is always a highlight on the calendar and shows the importance of sports in our community. Thank you to the Runway of Recognition Committee for all your work leading up to this important event. Congratulations to all of this year's inductees. We look forward to next year. On a sad note, Donald Don, or Dr. McMillan to many, passed away at home on May 29th at the age of 97. A lifelong resident of Thorold, a former mayor from 1972 to 85, and regional councilor where he served until 1985. After following in his dad's footsteps, he became a doctor and practiced medicine in Thorold for 57 years, retiring in 2007 just after his 82nd birthday. In 1959, Don and his father, together with Dr. Ralph, Dr. Myers, and Dr. Kara, established the Thorold Medical Clinic and were joined in practice in later years by Dr. Fraser, Dr. Blakey, Dr. Pringle, and Dr. Tatzel. One of his proudest achievements as mayor was spearheading the drive to make Thorold a city, which occurred in 1975. In 2013, Don was awarded the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal to recognize his many years of service to the community. Our heartfelt condolences, thoughts, and prayers go out to his family and friends. Don was a true ambassador and champion for the city of Thorold and will be deeply missed. The family will be holding a funeral services outdoors in the park beside the Thorold Senior Center, 8 Carlton Street South, on Saturday, June 11th at 11 a.m. Flags have been lowered to half-mast. Sunday, June 19th is Father's Day. On behalf of City Council and staff, happy Father's Day to all our dads. Enjoy your day. And that's the end of my mayor's report. Okay. Up next, motions for council support, declaration of a state of emergency of mental health, homelessness, and addiction in the city of Thorold. And I'll call on Councillor DeRose to present his motion, and I'm sure that it was Councillor Wilson that was going to second that motion at our last meeting. Am I correct, Councillor Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. And now I'll call on Councillor DeRose to please bring that forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you. Whereas 11 out of the 12 Niagara area municipalities have unanimously requested that Niagara region declare a state of emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addiction, Thorold City Council previously unanimously supported a motion requesting Niagara region declare a state of emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addiction. Whereas the City of Thorold Council previously unanimously supported a motion requesting the Niagara region declare a state of emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addiction. Whereas approximately 665 Niagara residents, including 121 children in Niagara, were counted as homeless a year ago in March 2021. Whereas Niagara EMS reported 1,001 suspected opioid overdoses in 2021 and 210 in 2022 up until April of now. Whereas Niagara's suicide rate of 9.8 deaths per 100,000 is higher than the provincial average of 7.7 deaths per 100,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the Thorold City Council direct Mayor Terry Ugolini as the head of council to declare a state of emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addiction in the city of Thorold, and that this resolution be circulated to the Ontario Minister of the Solicitor General, Emergency Management Ontario, the Premier of Ontario, the Ontario Ministry of Community and Social Services, the Ontario Associate Minister for Mental Health, all Niagara area members of provincial parliament, and all Niagara area municipalities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Would you like to speak to the report?
Yeah, I've been reached out by several individuals that are having major mental health issues, and after talking to them and hearing what they're experiencing, it just broke my heart. I see it every day. I'm teaching health on Rotary in the afternoon, so all the grade 7 and 8s at Clancy, so around 130 kids I'm teaching health to, and a big part of our year has been talking about mental health and issues of that nature, and I see what the students are going through, specifically since COVID arrived, and they're hurting, and I have a lot of concerns for many of them going forward. So I think we need to have the support of councils like ourselves, that we're in a position to at least bring attention to this, and hopefully get the ball moving. I think it's dire that we do this tonight. It's dear to the heart of many people I spoke to, and I know I've been talking specifically with Stephen Seuss and with his story, ongoing story. So very, very sad, and I think it's the least we can do is to start the ball rolling and declare this state of emergency.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilor
Mr. Mayor.
DeRose. Is we'll go to Councilor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, maybe to Councilor DeRose, if you can explain, it seems like we've passed this motion previously, and why we're doing it again, and what happened with the original one, if you could just explain.
Okay,
so
I'll let the clerk answer that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe the previous motions were with regards to declaring a state of emergency in Niagara region as a whole, which would be referring that to the regional municipality, whereas this is specific to the city.
Councilor Longo, do you have anything further?
Yeah, I support this motion, obviously, but I'm just wondering what the city of Thorold's going to do to help this initiative. We can pass a motion, but what do we do to follow up? Does follow-up mean sending it directly to the region? Because they're the ones that deal with these three issues that we're talking about.
I would suggest, and again, it's for Councilor DeRose, that it go out to the other municipalities and the region. My suggestion for distribution, but I'll leave that open to the floor. Councilor Sentence, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'll support this 100%. I know we tried this before. The region didn't listen. I'm hoping that by getting the ball rolling, as Councilor DeRose said, that this will get the ball rolling, send it to the other municipalities and the region, and let them see that the majority of the cities in the region supported this. They saw it last time. I don't know why. I don't understand why it wasn't passed last time, but I like this initiative again, and I'll support this 100% to see if we can get something moving. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Neal, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like the motion too. I like to expand on the motion because Thorold has already started a committee dealing with the three issues that are before us tonight. And they've been dealing with it for a few months now. So getting funding will certainly help them out. And I believe one of our pharmacies in Thorold does deal with part of the issue, which is drug addiction. And you can go into that particular pharmacy if you have a problem and get some help. So we are starting, and I mean, it's great, and I agree with Councilor Longo, is that this is excellent. But what are we going to do from here? What are we just going to declare it and then it goes on the wayside and we don't do anything to promote what we're talking about here tonight? And I think we need to at least maybe have a report back from staff looking at what we can do as a council to help promote these three issues that we have in front of us.
Thank you. Is there, I had on Councillor Hanley, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor. Yes, but I would agree with Councillor DeRose that we do some type of initiative in regards to mental health, but when we do send it to other municipalities, we need it to be supportive. We want it sent out in the format that they're supporting our motion so that it can go back forward and be presented once again to the region of Niagara. I see no reason why we shouldn't be declaring it an emergency. We just have to look at the numbers, and in a lot of other instances, we act in a different manner. And I think with mental health is one that is obviously is more traumatic now than it's ever been, just as Councilor Drew said with COVID. And I believe we need to address it, and starting at the municipal level and someone at the region, you know, if we can get all the representatives from the council. I can't believe it didn't go any further than the region couldn't get to the ministry, but I support it 100%.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there anyone else? Go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just in answer to Councillor Senton's question at the region. I guess it was a procedural situation that halted the advancement. I thought it was pretty petty. I wasn't in agreement with that. And just to let, in regards to what Councilor Neal's saying, there already is some action in Thorold, and I think, like you said, the one church, and I don't know if Brian Fournier is involved with them, but he spoke to me today and said about 2 camps in Thorold, because some people are doubting me that there's homeless in Thorold. And he said there's 2 camps. And also, I know of 2 friends that passed away about 3 years ago, burned in, unfortunately from a tent fire, and most people know the story. So this is why I'm adamant that we get this done, just to get like I said, get the ball rolling, and hopefully some positive things will come out of it. And Councilor Neal makes a good point. What can we do to follow up as a council? Thank you. And thanks for the support I've heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pass this Councilor Wilson, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, no problem. I know it looks confusing. There's people online and in person. I just wanted to make a comment. I am excited about this. I think, just to echo what some of the other councilors have said, obviously it is an issue that's ongoing. And my hope is that we'll get other cities in the region to support this, and we can start shining some light on it, even on a provincial level, so that we get some more help and some funding in these areas. And like I said last time, I think a big thing is that in the combination with homelessness is that people who have addictions and end up getting some help for a very short period of time at these treatment centers, and then end up going back to a shelter where they're not dry shelters anymore. And then they're just in this vicious cycle, and then they're around people that are using, and they get back to the addiction, and it goes on. So I think as a region and as a province, we really need to focus on this. It's a big issue, especially coming out of COVID with mental health, and it's spiraling into all these other problems. So maybe we just follow back up with the other municipalities would be my suggestion, and the region, to see if they're in agreement, and then together as a united group, we can put some pressure on the province for some additional help, since our numbers are obviously higher than the rest. So that's my thought. And I don't know, maybe the clerk can give us some idea of how we could best do that, but I think this is a great start. But we do definitely need to follow up on it, like the other councillors mentioned.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do you want to add anything regarding distribution? We're going to send it to area municipalities in the region. Is everybody good with that? That's a starting point. It doesn't mean that we can't keep pursuing this and working, and I'll definitely work on it at the regional level with Councillor Whalen. Okay. Okay. Did you want to speak?
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're reflecting in the glass there. That's
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess my question is, I know that a lot of the places are really difficult for some people to find. Is there a way that maybe with this initiative we can post it, like on our website, that where the locations are and the pharmacy, and maybe who they can call? I know that pass stones and stuff, but the waiting lists are so long for some of these young kids to get in to seek counseling and stuff. So I think it would be great if we could post something through our website, just
whatever information
we have for them to at least get a starting point. That would be wonderful. So I fully support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we go to a vote? Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say great idea, Councillor Decker, because I have spoken at Pathstone, and they are underfunded, and they're hurting, and the waiting list is ridiculous. So anything we could do to try to get them more federal and provincial dollars would really help. I know I think they're $3 million over budget this year, and it's evident. Thank you.
Okay. So I had a mover, Councillor DeRose, and I have a seconder, Councillor Wilson. All those in favor? And I'm glad to say that's unanimous. Okay. Committee and board minutes. I've got a mover, Councillor Kenny, and a seconder, Councillor Longo. The minutes to receive and file for information. 1111 Thorold Public Library, minutes from April 27th, 2022. Is that correct? Yes. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Am I missing anything there? Okay. Statement by councillors. Up first, Councillor DeRose. You can start with your first statement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, that staff be directed to prepare a report respecting the addition of an annual firework display put on by the city as part of the Victoria Day long weekend celebrations, including information concerning the necessary resources, including but not limited to staff and cost. The reason I ask this is when you have little kids, one of their most exciting things is fireworks this time of year. And I know we're having them July 1st. They'll be there for sure, first in line. But so I called around and I was surprised. I was out of the loop. I didn't realize that Thorold didn't have it anymore. And I know, Mary, you were talking about it last night at the awards banquet, runway recognition, how Thorold's growing. And so I'm very surprised because even the smallest of communities have a firework display and they're proud of it. And you guys remember growing up, Sullivan Park was the place to go. I could still remember those days. It was so much fun. They had the bands, they had the fireworks, then it moved to Clancy, and then I think it ended up in Thorold South, but I don't even remember when it stopped, but it stopped. So I'm just wondering if we can get costing, because of course that is a concern these days with all the prices rising. So if we can just get costing and maybe leave it up to next council if we don't want to move on it, but just to have the option to see if there's a taste for it out there in the community. And so that's why I wanted to bring this to the attention of staff and council. Thank you.
Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Neal. I think it's a great idea, and I think that it's something we need to be looking at doing more in the community of holding different events. So does anyone want to speak to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, you're up next, Councillor Jerome.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk about the lights again. I know Jeff and Curtis are probably getting tired of me bringing this up. And
talk about the lights again.
What? Okay, go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I just wanted to share. I was at the park again last week. And of course, at 5 o'clock, the lights were on full blast at C. Gross Park. And I brought this up first last July 31st, and I was told by our CAO that it would be addressed, that it would be reviewed, and that it'll be fixed. And then I brought it up again on May 3rd. And and I know we've asked for a report, and I'm sure we'll get it shortly, but I just feel that I don't understand why we don't do what we were doing previously. I know there's liability involved, but I don't understand why we had to reinvent the wheel. Things were working previously. I was a head coach for Thorold men's soccer for about 15 years, and we either had access to a city worker by his cell phone, or we had the key ourselves. We had the key for that night, that we were responsible for turning the lights on and off, which to me was efficient. And I just want to leave you with this, and this is why I brought it up. I heard someone make a comment that I'm bringing this up again. Well, yeah, I am, because it is a concern. Would any of you operate your home like this and just leave the lights on all day? I don't think so. When you have to pay the bill directly yourself, you're not going to do that. And so I'm speaking for the residents, not for myself only, and the hundreds of people that night that were kind of flabbergasted and asking me, because they know I'm a city councilor, why are the lights on at 5 in the afternoon? And then I drove by at 10:15 and I found out that they'd finished playing prior to 9 p.m. and the lights were still on. So this is a concern. I'm not trying to pick on any staff, but I think this has got to get fixed, because summer's here pretty well, and we're going to be wasting a lot of money that we don't need to waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor DeRose. Go ahead, Councillor Kenny. Go ahead.
Yeah, After getting Councilor DeRosa's email like we all did, I called the staff the next day and was asking questions. I was told one of the students was told to go to CE Gross Park and open up the change rooms, open up the washrooms, open up the storage rooms, and turn all the lights on. They meant all the lights in the rooms. Inadvertently, they turned the lights on in the park. It was a mistake. It was a mistake by one of our students. When things like this come up, I would like to know why we just can't call staff instead of sending these emails out to everybody.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, did you have your hand up? Go ahead, Councillor Hanley. Go ahead, Councillor Hanley. I know that you are reflecting. Councillor Hanley, we can't hear you.
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay, I was trying to do it, but the handprint kept coming up. You know, I can, you know, I'm going to tell you, I don't want to post them, but I have a surveillance camera in front of my own home, you know, and it's not pointing at anybody particularly, but it's pointing at the park, and I can do screenshots. And, you know, the lights are left on, and with the rising energy costs, I'm agreeing with Councillor DeRose. I have pictures, not that I want doing time frames, and nobody on the park. And maybe, you know, we're not looking at taking unionized jobs away from anybody, but it's about economics. You know, we're all being asked as a society to pinch tighter. Inflation is at an ever increasing high. They're talking about no recovery. Who knows? Going into a swag, they call it. So, you know, the way that we're going as a society, we need to look out. It's the taxpayers' monies. And, you know, it's been happening for years. I was punished for bringing it up actually and thought that there was conspiracy, to tell you the truth. But it's continuously been happening for years in the Thorold. It's a waste of energy, waste of taxpayers' dollars. Bottom line, I think we could implement something where we could curtail it with today's technology that's out there, and it wouldn't affect anybody's job. There's jobs to do. With today's technology and everything they're inventing, there's got to be something. Motion detector, once a part, sensors, it's out there. The technology's there. We need to implement it. I hate to say it. It's the truth.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll leave that with staff, okay? Did you want to speak or no? Okay, Councillor Kenny?
Yeah, I just want to, I agree with what both the councilors have said. We got to straighten it out, okay? I'm not saying I don't agree with that. All I'm saying is I investigated the one incident that Councilor DeRose was talking about, and that one incident, that's what happened. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything about it, okay? I just want to be clear about that.
Okay. Thank you, and we'll move forward on that. Okay, go ahead, Councillor DeRose.
Yeah, in regards to what Councillor Kenny said earlier, I think you're trivializing this. It's not just a one-time thing. And that's, you found out about one incident last week. This has been going on.
We're not getting into a
No,
debate.
it's been going on for years, Mr. Mayor.
I know, and you brought it up, and it's loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
And staff is looking into it, and we'll look after that situation. Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Neal, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a list of issues and items that have been brought forward to council and passed by council and sent to staff for reports or otherwise. And some of them have been in place for a while. So I'm just going to list them and then put a motion forward to have staff give us a report back. But my list, and I want to read it out because I want the people in the community to know.
Go ahead.
Lake Gibson Conservation Area become a historical, natural, environmental part of our community as a park or conservation area. And we have set aside funding to define the area by the planning department, but they have not brought back a report. The definition of affordable housing, we brought that forward recently, and we'll probably talk about that later in the evening. Creation of a dog park in the area of Beaver Dams Road being donated by the Griffiths family. We know that they're donating a piece of land, but we haven't heard for a while on the status. Creation of Beechwood War of 1812 Park at the corner of Davis and Thorold Stone Road on the other side of the canal. That is in the works also, and I know that I met with some developers out there, and they're willing to put some money into creating a park in that area. Creation of an Indigenous Peace Garden at Malsworth Park, that's been brought forward, and a report should be coming back with 3 different components of that. Completion of the DQ Trail from DQ House to Morning Star Mill, and I know Glenn Gordon would like to see that happen, and he's willing to put some money and time and effort into it, but I've heard nothing lately about it. Discussions on what to do with the old arena property and parking lot, with affordable housing being one of the options, and that's just one of the options that's from myself. But that came in the first part of January, and now it is June, and we've heard nothing about that. We're supposed to discuss that as a council and maybe come up with some options and some ideas. And guess what? We're going to be a lame duck council, and it won't be dealt with until the next term of council. And I would have rather it been dealt with now. Putting a secondary plan in place for the downtown area from Claremont, Sullivan East to Carlton North to Town Line Road West to and including both sides of Pine Street and south to Sullivan. This area to include affordable housing as defined by the Thorold City Council and other things of that nature. That should be put forward also, and I've heard nothing back in regarding that. And the last item I have is approve the affordable housing project that was put forward by One Thorold Group a while ago now on city land at the corner of St. David's Road and Welland Street. I know there's some legal issues regarding that, but I would like an update on that also. So therefore, Mr. Mayor, I would like staff to be directed to prepare a report respecting outstanding council reports requested, summarizing the status of the work completed to date and the timeline for delivery, including but not limited to the following list that I've just mentioned.
Thank you, Councillor. Do you have a seconder?
Councillor, a sentence.
Councillor Sentence, okay. Is there any speakers to that? Councillor Hanley.
I want to say I applaud you, Fred. Very good of you to bring all those items up before that council needs or asked to be addressed during this term of council. And I'm hoping that we can get a significant amount of answers to your request.
Thank you.
Fred, because I know as yourself and that this isn't just the only term and that stuff. It's gone on in the past, and we've been playing catch up with COVID and whatnot, but if we could get the results of what you're asking for, that'd be tremendous.
Thank you. Okay. It's on the floor. We had a mover, Councillor Neal, and a seconder, Councillor Sentence. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, Councillor Hanley, you're up. Go ahead with your first item.
On regards to the conditions of the park, the facilities, unless the grass was cut, I hadn't been around because I'm working on the town in the last day. We went by there. I'm sure we're enforcing it on citizens. The grass and the knolls and in front of the facility, around the facility, had to be 2 feet high. So I'm wondering who's responsible for the maintenance of the facility? Or is it that they're having trouble getting staff to work there? Because I seen they were advertising for employees and that stuff, and I don't know if they've received any yet, but I'm just wanting to know, what's the situation? Are we going to be responsible for it? Because for a class facility, as we've been promoting, the grounds didn't look pretty good as of 2 weeks ago. So I'm wanting to know how we're going to address this.
Thank you. Did you want to speak to that as far as
Yeah, I think that's
facility, the manicuring, the grass cutting, and all that?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, there are some issues as we transition between what is under maintenance from the original contract to the operator, Councillor Handley. So there are some challenges there. As you mentioned, the independent operator is going through a recruitment process and bringing on staff as they need it. But some of those issues to address the appearance, some of the finishing touches are identified as deficiencies, and they'll be addressed in the fullness of time.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm just hoping, Mr. Mayor, that we're not out punishing residents at this time for not cutting their grass, because I don't believe that facility has been cut yet. And for the monies that we're going to be investing in that place, $100 million, and we're going to be out penalizing residents who may not have done or have their properties up to standard right now. So I think myself personally, do I need to put a motion forward? Until that facility complies with city bylaws, I do not believe that we should be enforcing our bylaws against any residents in the city of Thorold.
We can get
And
you.
it's a disgrace to me. I hate to say it, but go out and look at the place. The grass has got to be 2.5 feet high. And with the prevalence of ticks in the area, I actually had one just last weekend. Like, we're not looking out for the health and welfare of our community.
Jason, can you
That's
look
all I got
into
to
that?
say about it, then. If we can get it addressed, please.
Yes, we'll get Thorold bylaw to have a look.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, council certainly has the authority and discretion to choose to direct staff not to enforce their clean yards bylaw. However, it's not something that I would recommend, given that that would just exasperate the issue versus solve the issue. I understand Councillor Hanley's concerns, but not requiring everybody else in the city to cut their grass, unfortunately, would just make the issue even worse.
So we can deal.
I know that's a
Can we
little
deal-
ridiculous, but
can we
in the same essence, then, does one have to file a complaint because we
No.
only do it on a complaint basis? Can I file a complaint right now?
I think
Can I do that, or do I have to submit it, the proper procedure? I don't mean to go this way, but
Councillor
people
Hanley,
are calling me,
let's-
and I drove by the facility when I was in town on Friday, and it doesn't look very good.
Councillor Hanley, let's let staff, between bylaw and our staff, deal with the with the operator and the construction and get this resolved. Can we do that?
Well, and
Okay,
I
staff
hope
will look
that
after
city
it.
staff-
Staff,
Can I say, Mr. Mayor, I do not want to have city staff be a part of maintaining that property, because I don't
No,
believe
they're
it's our
going-
responsibility as a municipality. If that could be put in there, we have a consortium, and, you know,
Right.
they're only advertising $15 to $17 an hour, not even a living wage. Maybe that's the problem.
okay.
But I'm gonna tell you that we got an issue there.
Thank
Please,
you.
I don't mean
And
to be
staff-
carry on, but
And they
I don't want
said-
city staff going there to do it.
Councillor Hanley, they said they will address it, okay? They will
Okay,
go.
all
Thank
right.
you. Thank you for bringing it
Thank
forward.
you.
Thank you for bringing it forward. Your second point.
I believe it's in regards to the alcohol policy.
What?
And the alcohol policy, the reason I wanted to bring it up, I seen this evening that we have 3 or 4 items in regards to people asking for special occasion permits. And I seen that there's a special occasion permit that was being asked in regards to consent reports 202245. And then I had learned that there was 3 other items here, and at the same time, why I'm bringing it up, is that we have a facility in Thorold that's selling alcohol, and I haven't seen it come forward to city staff or in council. And what my concern was that CC 202245 deals with having a licensed area special occasion permit beside the Canada Games facility, but yet they're already selling alcohol at the Canada Games facility, and they don't adhere to the policy as written, because there's conditions, and anybody that's selling alcohol at the facility right now should have or had to apply to the city, I believe, for a special occasion permit, unless there's a permanent liquor license affixed with that. And if there was a permanent license affixed at the Canada Games facility, then we wouldn't need report CC 202245, because they could just ask for an extension of liquor license. So I don't know whether or not the city is aware of it or not, but we're putting ourselves in quite a predicament on seeing that in section 2.31 of it, one of the first things that we do mention too is that the reason for the policy is to educate individuals in regards to it, ensure that the proper operations of special occasion permit events are adhered to, and encourage, reinforce responsible servers. So it's a concern of mine, and I think it should be a concern of my fellow councillors, for that someone may be operating in the city of Thorold and selling alcohol without the knowledge of the city. And if there is the knowledge of the city, then if it would have to be a special occasion permit, and why didn't it come before the city of Thorold? So that's my concern, Mr. Mayor. I'm wanting to, maybe in regards to, our policy needs updated too, if I can comment on that. It's 20 years old. It only asks for $1 million liability. And one of the things that I know that they're not following, because in section 2.3.4, part of anybody who accepts or has a special occasion permit approved by the city has to sell non-alcohol and low alcohol beverages. And they're not doing that right now. I actually have a picture of a placard of the alcohol that they are serving, and it's hot dogs $5, candy $5, pop $3, water $3, coffee $2, beer $7, and a bucket of beer for $25. Another one of concerns is mine, and when I read the agreement, wasn't concession supposed to be a part of something that the consortium was to run so that we could actually get profit from it ourselves to offset the cost of this facility? So I'm raising those concerns because we have ourselves in a very tough predicament, I believe. We're opening ourselves to liability, and I myself as a council don't want to be open to liability. I can be sued civilly if something happened here and the proper procedures weren't met. So either someone from the city give them permission without going through the proper channels as per our policy, or they're operating illegally, selling alcohol during the lacrosse games at the Canada Sports Games facility. So it concerns me. I hope it concerns other councillors and staff, because just by having the 4 items here that we're dealing with tonight proves that in order to sell alcohol in the city of Thorold or any type of facility or event, you got to get approval by council, unless it's a permanent liquor license, and there's no permanent liquor license there. So something's going on.
Thank you,
So that's
Council.
what my next issue. That's my second issue, Mr. Mayor.
No, but I want to make sure that staff follows up on this. Can we follow up on that and
Yeah,
find out?
because they're selling alcohol there. They're advertising that they're selling it.
No.
And I can't find anywhere myself where there's been approval given through a special occasion permit by the city.
Can we follow
So
up?
if they obtained a liquor license, someone from the city had to sign off on it. That's a concern too. So if they obtained a liquor license, they had to get someone to sign off from the city.
Okay, we'll follow up on that. Councillor Hanley, thank you.
Okay?
Go ahead, Councillor DeRoe.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Who is running the concessions presently to staff?
I think the concessions have not been contracted out yet, have they? I don't know. I would think that there might be doing like they did at the Thorold Arena when we didn't have the snack bar licensed out, that the user group might have been doing it, but I'm not sure. I'm not aware. So
Could we find out?
yes, we can.
Because they're obviously been selling things now, presently.
No, we will.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll follow up on that as well. Okay, Councillor Hanley.
Okay, on that one too, yeah, if we could immediately, because I don't want to put myself in any type of liability, please.
Thank you.
On the Canada Day celebration, I brought it up earlier in regards to the facility being available as of this weekend and today, obviously with the rain or whatever, but wasn't anybody there the last few days. Are we going to be ready for the Canada Day celebrations? And if not, do we have a contingency plan in place? Within the climate weather approaching, I don't know, I really don't have a thing. Are we going to hydro seed it? Are we going to seed it? Are we going to lay sod? Either way, we only have 3 weeks for it to root, and thousands of people are going to be attending the event. So, and we don't know what the weather is going to be like. So do we have a contingency plan in place for Canada Day celebrations and the Blues Festival if by chance we can't use the Canada Games Park Beaver Dams?
You mean the Beaver Dams Park? Battle of Beaver Dams.
I mean, yeah, for the Canada Day celebrations. Is there a contingency plan? Because it's not looking good, honestly, right now to me, personally.
I'll turn this over to Jeff, and is Curtis on? Is Curtis online? I'll get Curtis to answer that question. And Curtis, go ahead, please.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Handley, you're correct. The park, for the majority of it, has been hydro-seeded. If you walk through, you can actually see some of the grass starting to come through. Right now, they're in the process of finalizing the tree planting, bush installs, the landscaping sort of portion of it. And then following that, they're going to be installing the benches, and essentially they're going to be done. And then city staff will be moving in and painting the band shell. So weather dependent, I would anticipate we will be removing the fence within the next couple of weeks once we start seeing some additional grass come through.
No, thank you very much. In regards to the band shell, was that not including in the contract that some type of refurbishing will be done that as part of the contract? It sounds like, is the city now going to be doing the renovations or the painting? Wasn't there supposed to be some upgrades or
Yeah,
the band shell?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. So the washrooms are now AODA compliant. It's simply the painting of the band shell which staff are going to undertake.
And the roof was done as well, right, Curtis?
That is correct. The interior roof, where we had a bit of a bee infestation, has been corrected as well.
Okay, thank you.
So the only part of the band shell that we're doing is the painting of it, am I correct? Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, I thought with the contract, I appreciate it that was covered too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Longo. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a few comments. I probably get the same phone calls Councillor Hanley does, but I'm really concerned about that park. I walk by it every day. I see no grass coming through that. And I don't want to sound negative, but I don't know what's going to happen come July 1st. That's 3 weeks away. There's no way that I can see that park's going to be ready, and I want it to be ready for that celebration because we have a lot of money tied up in it. I don't know what else to say. Maybe jokingly I can say we can respond to Councillor Hanley's 3 issues here. The grass is really long out here. They already have a liquor license. We could go out there and listen to music. Like, this is really concerning. This is months and months overdue. And we need to have a plan because otherwise we're going to throw another $50,000 away, I think. So unless we got some miracle growing grass, I think we need to have a plan. And I'll leave that up to staff. But there's a lot of people concerned. And not trying to be negative about it, we just need to be prepared. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Okay. That's good. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just to give the council some assurance that we've been doing what we can under the circumstances. We have ordered some sod, and we're going to be placing sod starting tomorrow around the band shell area. But some of the areas that are more part of the passive park will remain as hydro seed. And some of it's still under warranty, and we'll get the contractor back. Will it be absolutely perfect? I don't think so. But to shift to another venue at this time will result in some additional costs that will make it more difficult to host the type of event that we had planned for a 2-day event.
Thank you. And I know that for Canada Day, they always fence off that one area where the fireworks are anyways. And that's actually the bigger area where the hydro seeding is being taken place. So, okay, thank you. Councillor Hanley?
Could we possibly get an update where we stand financially with the Battle of Beaver Dams Park in regards to budget? Because it sounds like we may have some cost overruns possibly.
We can bring back a report if you wish, Councillor.
Yes, if I wish, so if I need to put a motion forward, or can I just have that as a request,
It's
Mr. Mayor?
just direction, staff direction. We need a motion, okay. I got a mover, Councillor
I'll put a motion on the floor that we direct staff to bring back a report in regards to the Battle of Beaver Dams Park, in regards to the costing and budget.
Thank you. I got a mover, Councillor Hanley, and I have a seconder. Are you seconding that, Councillor Kenny? Councillor Kenny, are you seconding that?
I'd like just to ask Councilor Hanley if I could make a friendly amendment to ask for the report once the completion of the park's done, Jim? Instead of like maybe a month from now, if we could get a completion report with the cost? Just asking for a friendly amendment.
I'll agree to that, because I know I get a feeling it's gonna be over budget anyways, we really can't prevent it or stop it. We're gonna have to vote one day or another, so I'll agree to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? What? I had a seconder, Councillor Kenny. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think you missed one of the statements.
From who?
Councilor DeRose?
No, he canceled his third statement, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay. Okay, we're moving to delegations. Yeah, okay. Delegations to report PDS 2022-25 respecting Ontario Land Tribunal appeals representations. Councillor Decker is going to take the chair over to deal with the first item, which is the DQ part of the report. Go ahead, Councillor Decker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're coming up here.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll call on Nicholas Boza for his delegation respecting report PDS 2022-26.
Councillor Decker, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Through you, Councillor Decker. Thank you, councillors, for having me this evening. I'm representing myself this evening, but since I've registered to speak, I've spoken to three other large groups, including my cousin Tony Boza's group, secondly, the Thorold Accountability Group, and a third group who have a real vested interest in this file, who are extremely concerned at the sequence of events I'm about to share this evening. And these groups combined seem to be the largest voting block group in Thorold. And I was specifically asked to say that. That wasn't part of my diary statement for tonight, but I was asked by a handful of people to say that, so I did. So moving forward, I'm going to review the sequence of events that occurred on this file to point out many inconsistencies on the application for the rezoning application at the 1970 DQ Road, issue 1. If you recall, as we commenced this file, we had the planning department recommending to support the amended application, and council unanimously voted against it. Then in the not too distant future from that point, on May 6, 2002, an official notice of refusal was sent out to all connected to the file shortly thereafter. The reasons were, and I'm going to read it directly from there, it's only 3 lines. Council gave the following reasons for refusing the application. The application does not meet the form character, comma, incompatibility with the area, comma, concern of student living in the building, comma, and traffic concerns. However, there were many other reasons that council gave why the application was voted down, but it was not included in the official record. Like in the official record, it doesn't say, you know, here's the list of reasons that include, but it's not limited to. So all the other reasons that were more weighted were actually boxed out of this certificate, which puts those who oppose the appeal at a great disadvantage. I wrote Clerk Matthew Trenum as soon as it came out, because I noticed it, and he basically responded in writing quickly, thank you for that, that it really wasn't a concern. However, our research told us that it did matter. Our research also told us that this win at appeals was going to be a real easy one, but with the incorrect paperwork or incomplete paperwork, it would open the door to technicalities for the applicant. So the clerk responded in writing, said that the document that was circulated, which was the notice of refusal of zoning bylaw amendment application for 1970 DQ Road, was a notice of the decision only. Well, not true, because it was incomplete. The judge at the appeal is going to say they're going to go by what's in writing. And secondly, the second point that the clerk mentioned was, and not meant to be a synopsis of the meeting nor the comments. Well, I'm not going to tell a judge how to interpret a certified document from the city. He can interpret any way, he or she can interpret any way he wants. What am I supposed to say? But Your Honor, but Clerk Matthews said they're going to laugh at us. So the third point that Clerk Matthew Trenham said, that in the event that of an appeal, all comments submitted to the city will be provided to the OLT, the Ontario Land Tribunal. The notice of decision will not serve as evidence for any comments. Rather, it will be proof that notice of the decision was provided. Again, that's not true. What was provided was an inaccurate and incomplete notice of the decision. That will become the reference point to argue against at the appeal. Now, the judge has the right to weigh the reasoning on just the official notice alone. We asked for it to be corrected as soon as it came out in writing. We asked for it. Matter of fact, I went online and played the whole tape back. Probably took me a dozen times, and I wrote out every single counselor's reasoning and made that list. And the clerk refused to correct it. We asked to follow it up with even a letter rather than redoing the certificate, and the clerk refused again. So I'm going to move to point number 2, issues arising from a different set of circumstances as it relates to this file. All parties that were connected to this file were to be notified when an appeal was executed so we could review and comment to council directly prior to council making any further decisions on this file. That's our right. To my knowledge, this was not done. I found out by way of city website, quite by accident, from a letter that was posted on the agenda that was dated June 1 that said, another OLT appeal has been submitted directly to the city respecting the refusal of the zoning bylaw amendment request concerning 1970 DQ Road. The second point was the city is required to submit additional documentation respecting 1970 DQ Road by June 10th. So if this is what the city put in writing and they've got to submit to the tribunal by June 10th, that means that they got this notice of appeal as early as May 23rd and been holding on to it for 15 days and really told nobody. So, I mean, I contacted the clerk. Clerk put me through to Jason. Basically, the acting planner. I forget his last name. I apologize for that. But really, what we require is confirmation as to what was served to the city, so we can confirm if the appeal is valid or not. We need to know what forms they were served with. We need to know when they received them. We need to know, but we require the official reasons that the applicant is relying upon for the appeal. That's very important. I've been dealing with the tribunal on and off all day today, and they said if an appeal form A1 was not sent to the city or served onto the city within that specified time, then the appeal has not been perfected and not properly performed, so not valid. This evening, I really have no doubt that even if I didn't show up, I really believe that council, in my absence, would have voted to fight this appeal and also vote to hire the appropriate counsel to do so. I genuinely believe that, because when you voted it down originally, the amended application, it was unanimous. And however, we, the public, require the official notice of refusal corrected, as it is incorrect and puts us at great risk.
Sorry, Mr. Boza, I just want to let you know you have a minute.
Thank you.
40
I'm almost
seconds
done,
left,
really.
okay?
Thank you for letting me know, Councillor Decker. Our question is why all the inconsistencies? I will be applying for a party status on this appeal, and I require all this information, and so will other groups. Why aren't we all on the same team here if we've got the same goal? The largest weight reason for council refusing the application is that there is no precedent anywhere in Ontario that a single-family resident property was rezoned to high density, being only 66 feet away from a designated wildlife conservation area and only 3 properties west of an already disturbed frog pond. 2 more sentences, I'm done. If we lose this appeal, it will be a precedent-setting case for all of Ontario, putting every single designated conservation area at risk for high-density development. And what a shame if we just lose on a technicality because the paperwork wasn't perfect. But so at the end of the day, paperwork matters. And we have some issues with the paperwork and need to have copies of what was served so we can validate whether the appeal service was legally perfected or not. I just received an email at 5:59 from Jason Simpson stating that the Ontario Land Tribunal will not allow him to share the information served upon him. Well, I got the opposite information in dealing with the tribunal directly today. So in closing, what we require is is not only that information that Jason's not sharing with us, but we believe is our right to get, even according with the tribunal. But in closing, last sentence, what we require is a corrected notice of refusal of zoning bylaw amendment application for 1970 DQ Road, and I'm asking for a council to put a motion on the floor to do just that at this time, not putting not only our properties in jeopardy,
Mr. Boza, your time's up.
In Ontario in jeopardy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the delegate at this time? Councillor Hanley?
Thank you. Through you, Acting Mayor, to Mr. Boza. Do you have a motion pre-written that you feel? Because I'm sure, first, Mr. Mayor or Acting Mayor, through you to the appropriate staff member, I would need to put a motion to the floor to the effect in regards to Mr. Bozo's request.
I can read
right?
it. It's my last paragraph that I read out loud. What we require is a corrected notice of refusal of zoning bylaw amendment application for 1970 DQ Road, and I'm asking for, well, I can just stop right there. That's it.
Right now, just ask questions and wait till the report is on the floor, please.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Councillor Kenny? Your hand was up.
I'm good, sorry. I wanted to make, I wanted to ask, I don't know who I would direct the question to, but are we not dealing with this in closed session afterwards?
No.
So through the mayor, currently the report that will be on the floor after the delegation merely speaks to the request to have representation to complete the appeal piece. If council wish to go beyond that and actually discuss the appeal itself, that would need to go into closed, but that's not what's being presented on the floor today.
Okay.
Any more questions by anyone? No. In accordance with the procedural bylaw, after a delegation to an item, council will immediately deal with the item. I'll call on Councillor Neal to move and Councillor Sentence to second the report PDS 2022-25.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I would move that respecting 1970 DQ Road, because we have to split this out and it's not split in the report, that the city is required to submit additional documentation respecting 1970 DQ Road, and that this matter was brought before council at its meeting held on April 26th, and report recommended the approval of a zoning bylaw amendment application which was defeated. On May 26th, the city has provided with an Ontario Land Tribunal appeal form for this decision. In response, the city is required to submit a municipal approval authority form no later than 4:30 on Friday, June the 10th, which is this week. Therefore, I move that we approve obtaining legal and planning representation to deal with this matter at the OLT.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, maybe just a question regarding what Mr. Boza was mentioning earlier. Is that the OLT appeal form? Is that what he's talking about, or is that something else?
I can answer that. So,
Well,
through
if
the
you want me
acting,
to talk, I'll talk. If not, just call on me and I'll talk.
through the acting mayor, so what was submitted to the city on April 26th, which was the last opportunity to do so, was Appeal Form 1. That now triggers the city's responsibility to submit the Municipality Appeal Authority form. That is due to the OLT on June 10th, as suggested. The purpose of this report is to notify council of that process and to ensure that representation is brought on to complete that
Good,
process.
so that will allow us to make our representations to the OLT.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
And then once that is submitted appropriately to the OLT, again, that will bring on whatever processes come next, whether that's scheduling a hearing and providing an opportunity for those to submit additional or appropriate information.
Councillor Kenny?
Yeah, my question earlier about the closed session later. My question I wanted to ask our legal team is, because all our planners have left, is it possible both here and on Ormond Street that we could use our own new planning staff, because they were not the ones that started this case? So we've got new planners that were not involved. I mean, if one were still here, I could understand it, but we don't have any. So I guess that would be my question to the lawyer later in closed session. But until then, I'll just wait.
Okay, Councillor Hanley?
I think we need to add a friendly amendment here and specific wording as to what Mr. Boza is requesting in regards to the additional items as to council's reasoning for refusing it unanimously in the first place. I think he makes a valid point. I think that's what, if I could ask through the appropriate staff member to Mr. Boza, isn't that what you would like, Mr. Boza, that to be actually included in the appeal? And I believe Mr. Boza makes a valid point. This may be a crucial part, and I see the 4 items that were listed, and it doesn't mention about the conservation area nearby. It doesn't mention about the frog pond nearby. It doesn't take any of that into consideration. And I think it's a very valid point. There should be an amendment made to what's on the floor to this evening, and to include what Mr. Boza wishes to add to it. And if need be, if we need to do on a side note, a motion, I'll put a motion forward to that effect, if need be. And I'm sure I can find a seconder, I'm hoping.
Matthew's going to answer that.
So through the mayor, part of the municipal submission form is the appeal reasons and specific information, one of which is for appeal types. Please outline the nature of the appeal and the reasons for the appeal. So the representation brought on would be completing that, including the reasons that are fully listed in the meeting that occurred. So that's already part of the application process. All of that will be included in the actual documentation prepared and submitted by the city and or its representation.
But not part of
Yes,
the
thank you
official
very much.
record. Not part of the
Thank you
official.
very much. Seeing that that has to be done by June the 10th, could I have a copy forwarded to me in regards to the city's submission to the appeal? Would I be able to see that? Because I don't want the appeal to come about and then we say, oh, geez, look, we omitted it. Just to assure myself, we would be allowed to see the document that would be sent in regards to the appeal?
Jason, can you answer that for us?
Through you, Acting Chair, the document that was submitted to the City of Thorold, through a formal Freedom of Information request, the documentation may be able to be made available. That would have to be determined once the documentation was reviewed.
No.
The documentation.
No, I think you misunderstood me, Jason. What we're going to send by June 10th, not what we've received already. What our response, what we're going to send, would I be able to see the response? The response is going to be sent in by June 10th, and it may not go by the tribunal and maybe till July or August, whatever. And I just want to assure myself that the points that Mr. Boza has stated are noted. Wouldn't I be privy of that, being a counselor?
Through the Acting Chair, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but it's something that we could look into further and provide further response on.
Well, if we could get a legal advice on that, then through you or through the acting mayor to the appropriate staff member, because I'd like to see it. I personally, to assure myself. I see no wrongs with that.
Through you, Madam Chair. Okay, I understand the council is looking for more information about this particular application. The report in front of you is about whether or not you want to hire a lawyer and a planner to represent you at the committee. If you want to speak about the details of the appeal and the particular items that you'd like to have included, I think we'd need to move into closed session to do that. The reason why this is here and in an open session is to get direction about moving ahead, given the fact that time is of the essence and hearing dates are being scheduled, and we want to make sure that if you want and need representation, we can bring that on board. And if we need at the next council meeting to have an update and talk about some of the details or specifics of the application, I think that would be the appropriate time to ask the question about what's available.
Too late. Tell them it's too late.
No, I just see, but Mr. Mayor, excuse me, not Mr. Mayor, so I appreciate that, Jeff, but to me personally, I want that before, it goes out. Because I want to assure the people that have the concerns and the people that Mr. Boza is talking about and the citizens have concern that their request to amend what had been previously stated that they feel did not include significant circumstances or reasoning for an appeal may jeopardize the appeal. I see nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with that. We should be including everything we can on the city's defense. If we're going to hire a lawyer and a representative, we should be doing our due diligence to assure ourselves that we're going to win the case. Why go in if you know you're going to lose?
The clerk's going to respond, Councillor Hanley.
Yeah. So through the chair, I don't necessarily know anything that would prevent you from seeing the language in the application. I think the biggest concern at this point is ensuring that we have a decision to move forward and get it done. What I would strongly recommend is that any councillor submit their additional comments they would like to see from that meeting put into that. We can certainly address that with the representation that will be submitting this on our behalf. Again, the turnaround time will be very quick, as this would be due no later than 4:30 on June 10th. That's the biggest concern with this process.
Okay, so I appreciate it. So what you're saying then is, so if Mr. Boza emailed me tonight, I could just forward that email to you. We can, and that would be sufficient. Or I can forward it to the mayor because I can't forward it to you directly, and then the mayor will forward it to you. Is that what I need to do? Just for clarity. I want to assure myself that it gets submitted.
Yes, if you want to forward that through to me, through the mayor's office, we'll ensure that gets to our representation and included.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Longo, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just want to maybe reiterate what the acting CAO is trying to say. We need to act quickly here because we have a deadline of Friday. What we're trying to do tonight is decide whether, my understanding is deciding whether we're going to hire legal counsel and a professional planning representative to defend us. I'm sure we could trust that the acting CAO and the clerk have taken part in this meeting and they can talk to our legal representative and let them know what needs to be in that appeal. We certainly can't have another meeting before Friday, I don't think. So I trust that the acting CAO understands, and if we want to send a list of items that we want to make sure are included, that's fine. But I trust the acting CAO, the lawyer we hire, and the professional planner to do it properly and defend the city to the nth degree. So I think we need to move forward and put our hands up and say whether we want to hire counsel.
Thank you, Councillor Longo. Councillor Neal?
I agree with Councillor Longo. That's the essence of this tonight, is that we hire the professional people who will take all of what we talked about into consideration, including Mr. Bose's information, and collate it and take it to the OLT and present our case. And I think we're all wanting to do the same thing, only in a different manner here. And so my motion is to hire the two professionals in order to make our case. And if we have to have an in-camera meeting sometime over the next week in order for them to bring us a report, then we'll do that. But I think that's the essence of it, this tonight, is to hire them.
Thank you, Councillor Neal. Councillor DeRose?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I'd like to second Councillor Neal's motion.
Any more discussion, or all those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
So we haven't dealt with 16 Ormond yet.
We're going to do it right now.
We're going to do it. We're going to do Ormond Street. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Decker. So now we're on the same report with the first part of it, which is relating to Ormond Street. Do we want... And it's the same thing about having representation. Is there anybody who wants to speak to Ormond Street? Go ahead, Councillor.
I would move the Ormond Street similar to the DQ Road in order to hire the necessary two professionals to take our case to the OLT.
Do you have a seconder for that? Councillor Longo. Any speakers to that? Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we all know, there are groups in the city that have concerns about this. I would trust that the clerk and CAO would take any submissions from them regarding things that they may want included in an appeal defense.
Okay, that's duly noted. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, I had a mover, Councillor Neal, and a seconder, Councillor Longo. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to consent reports. I got a mover, Councillor Decker, and a seconder, Councillor Longo, to receive consent reports 14-1 through 14-14. Does anyone want to pull a report? Seeing none. Oh, did you want to pull a report, Councillor Longo?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I just think we should just, don't want a lot of discussion on it, but 14-14, the Frog Pond restoration update, just that people are asking about it. I
Yeah.
think if we have a very quick overview on it, it would be beneficial.
Okay, so let's do 14.1 to 14.13. A mover, Councillor Decker, seconder, Councillor Longo. All those in favor? Opposed, that's carried, and we'll do standalone 14.14, PWCS 2022-66, and I'll turn this over. I think Sean's going to give us an update. Sean, you're up on DQ, Richmond Frog Pond Restoration Project update.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's recommended that we be given approval, I guess, to move forward with some temporary but immediate restoration as recommended by 8 Trees Consulting. They believe that if we wait till July 1st, which is really the end of the breeding season for the frogs, the pond will have dried up. So what we're trying to do is just create an environment for the frogs to finish their breeding.
Is there any further? That's it? Is there any questions for Sean regarding that report? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any questions. I'll make a quick comment.
Yep, go ahead.
We did have a meeting with some of the stakeholders, and you were there too, Mr. Mayor. Things are moving along. Probably people would probably want it faster, but things take time. So we are doing some measures, and there's been talk of other ones. I actually drove by on my way here tonight, and it looks like things are, there's some work taking place there right now. So just to let people know, although they'd like it faster, we're doing the best we can, and hopefully the next report gives us more information.
Thank you, and that was an excellent meeting and good collaboration at that meeting as well. So, okay. So I had a mover, Councillor Decker, and a seconder, Councillor Longo, 1414 PWC. Oh, sorry, Councillor Wilson, go ahead.
I just had a comment. I'm just wondering what we're doing internally to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
Can we answer that? Do you want to answer it, Jeff or Sean?
I say that because we issued a permit where we had an agreement with an outside group that it wouldn't be touched. So what are we doing to make sure that any future permits, that there's a cross-referencing or something so that we're not destroying land that should have been protected?
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I'll get Jeff Holman, our Director of Public Works and Community Services.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Wilson. The resolution is attached to the report, and that's what we're going to be reporting back to you on, about the status, how this happened, and how we can avoid ever this happening again. I think Council needs to get kind of the fulsome story on this, and look at our current policies and practices to see where we need to sharpen and tighten things up a little bit. Some of it has to do with work in our planning documents. Some of it has to do with our public works, site alteration permit and pre-servicing agreements. So lots of room for improvement. And those items will be brought forth in the report. Hopefully it will be available for the July meeting.
Okay, Councillor Wilson?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, I had a mover, Councillor Decker, and a seconder, Councillor Longo, on PWCS 2022-66 DQ Richmond Frog Pond Restoration Project update. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we're going to move on to discussion reports. DF 2022-11 Brock Business Park Area Development Charge Bylaw and Background Study, and I had a mover, Councillor Sentence, and a seconder, Councillor Kenny, and I'll turn this over to Maria Morrow, our Director of Finance. Okay, Kate Hanna, I'll turn this over to you. Manager of, I want to get this right. Manager of
Revenues and Accounting.
Revenues and Accounting, thank you. I don't want to say it wrong, and I was going to say Manager of Finance, and that would have been
not quite right. So through you, Mr. Mayor, the recommendations are such that the Brock Business Park Area Development Charges background study dated April 8th, 2022 be approved, that the Brock Business Park Area Development Charge bylaw be approved, that the capital costs set out in Chapter 4 of the Development Charge background study be approved, subject to further annual review during the capital budget process, and that the clerk be directed to provide notice of the passage of the Brock Business Park Area Development Charges bylaw in accordance with Section 13 of the Development Charges Act 1997.
Thank you, Kate, and I'll open the floor up if there's any questions. Seeing none, although, again, I said I had a mover, Councillor, let me get this right again. I had a mover, Councillor Sentence, and a second, Councillor Kenny. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. So we're 15-3, right? Because we've already taken care of 15-2. PDS 2022-26. I'll turn this over to Jason Simpson. Are you handling this report for us?
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, the recommendation of this is simply that council receive the report for information purposes.
Okay, and that's request for is that the minor variance application?
The report before you is just identifying that a developer or builder has requested council provide consent to them to be able to apply for a minor variance since it's within 2 years of the passing of the comprehensive zoning bylaw.
Okay. Is there any questions regarding that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Yes, I'll let you go ahead, sorry.
So just through the mayor, having received that, it is before council as well. If you wish to actually grant that, we would need a motion from somebody and a seconder to actually grant them the ability to submit that request. Right now, they do require a resolution of council to allow them to submit the minor variance application.
Okay, so we need to,
if council wishes to allow them to submit that, we need a resolution from council to do so.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder to that? Councillor Longo and Councillor Neal. And that is, can you repeat that again so everyone's clear?
So that the request to submit a minor variance application for Block 36, that's Alicia Crescent and Hansler Heights, which is Plan 59M 502, to the Committee of Adjustment be approved.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Did you want to discuss on that, or you're just voting? Just voting, right? Okay. All those in favor, sorry. Opposed? That's carried. Okay, PWCS 2022-65. Welcome to Canada fundraiser special event permit request. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation is that report PWCS 2022-65 dated May 30th, 2022, respecting Welcome to Canada fundraiser special event permit request be received, and the following recommendation be approved: that the special event permit request for a Welcome to Canada fundraiser at Port Robinson Community Center be approved on Sunday, July 10th, 2022.
Okay, I'll open the floor for any discussion or questions regarding that. Go ahead, Councillor Longo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we need to discuss this because we need to make a decision here. And this is one of those difficult ones where it's not a lot of money, but we're being warned by staff not to set a precedent. And I always agree with not setting precedents. So I'll be the bad guy and say we can't do this. Because once we do it once, we'll have to do it potentially over and over again. but I think it's a worthwhile event. I have a question for the clerk, and it's a personal question. Can a city councilor pay for this? Or is there some sort of conflict?
Through the mayor, I couldn't speak to a conflict necessarily, as it would be on the individual councillor under the Conflict of Interest Act to sort of declare that for themselves. I wouldn't know if there is any precedent to that happening, or if there's anything I could draw from to provide you direction beyond that.
Okay, well, I'm not going to allow this, but I think it's a welcome to Canada. Everybody in this room has been welcome to Canada at one time, one of their ancestors. So I'd like to find out a way to do this. So maybe if the clerk could look into that for me personally, I'd appreciate it. But I won't support spending taxpayers' dollars.
So it's a two-part, and correct me, so I want people to be clear. One is about waiving the fees on the hall, and the other is waiving the fees on the insurance. So just to be clear, there's two parts to that. Go ahead.
And just through the mayor, what is currently on the floor is, of course, just that the permit be approved, which would allow the event to go forward. If council wished to go ahead with any other option, they would have to amend the motion to include that, but that is not what staff are recommending.
Yeah, so your staff's recommending that they get the permit, but they pay all fees required, correct? And the permit be approved based on them paying the appropriate fees. Am I correct? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Sentence.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Yeah, that's what I thought we were doing. When the second part came up, I'll just be devil's advocate. I agree with the insurance part of not setting a precedent, but we have done other things in the past where I've supported other things that have gone on financially with the arena thing we had and stuff like that. So I don't see the problem of the community center 150, but I do agree with the insurance not being paid. But if we're not talking about that yet, then
well, there'd be two prongs. Correct me if I'm wrong, or would we have to include that all in one?
So if council would like that included, it would need a mover and a seconder to amend the motion to include.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Doros.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I agree with Councillor Sentence and Councillor Longo to an extent, and I would even participate with Councillor Longo to chip in or do something of that, or find a sponsor, because I think it's not an extremely large amount of money. But I think the community center would it be considered in kind? Basically?
That would be considered in kind, correct? The insurance is a direct charge.
Right.
Can you explain that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that's correct. The insurance would be incremental, and the waiving the rental fees are foregone revenues in kind.
Okay, because I would support that, like Councillor Longo and Councillor Sentence said. We don't want to set a precedent, and we, personally, I know myself, I could easily contribute that also.
So do we want to move forward? Did you want to make a motion, Councillor Sentence, to include the home rental but not the insurance?
yeah, and I'm open to how we pay it, but I would.
Well, it's done.
Yeah. I would
it's
like
in the report on that.
I would like to make a motion to that effect.
Okay, so you want that added? Can I get a seconder for that? I got Councillor DeRose as a seconder. And then I'll wait till the clerk puts that together and put it on the floor for further discussion. Is it up there? Oh, go ahead, Councillor Hanley. Go ahead, sorry.
But saying if we all want to contribute as councillors, the total cost between the 150 and the 162 is $39 a head, excluding the mayor. And if we include you, Mr. Mayor, it even reduces it more.
Yeah, and that would be fine, but I would like that to be, we were going to get something back from the clerk on that, okay?
Okay.
On the Part B. On the Part A, we can pass tonight, okay? If that's the way council wants to go. Absolutely at the discretion of council. Yep. Okay. And I'll let the clerk put that up and read it.
So through the mayor, the amendment, if the mover and seconder agree, would be that the request to waive rental fees of $150 for daily use of the facility be approved. You'd be
Okay.
approving the waiver of the fees.
So that would include that the insurance still would have to be paid, and how it's paid will wait for further guidance from the clerk. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. I had a mover, Counselor Sentence, and a seconder, Counselor DeRose. All those in favor? I can't see the screen with the other. Are they all those in favor? Everybody's in favor. That's carried. Thank you. What's that? Okay, so that was to move the amendment. Now to approve the whole motion as amended. Again, I have a mover and seconder. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Okay. Are we going into close? There is a different close?
So yes, there is a closed session.
Okay, I see that. Okay. Do we want to do any bylaws or no?
We can do it after closed session.
Okay. Okay. I have a, before I ask for a mover and seconder to go into closed session, I would like to remind you of your obligations respecting closed session. Those who are participating electronically in the closed session must ensure that no other person is in the location from which they are taking part in this meeting, or make appropriate arrangements so that any other persons cannot see or hear any of the confidential deliberations taking place. If this is not possible, you must withdraw from the meeting until it is reconvened in open session. Do I have a mover and a seconder to move into closed session? I have a mover, Counselor Sentence, a seconder, Counselor Decker. That council do move into closed sessions for the purpose of receiving information of a confidential nature respecting a matter respecting litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, Ontario Land Tribunal Appeal, Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw Update. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Now, would you please log out, and those that are